Hi, kids. Thanks for joining me for this prayerful pause with the pastor, a time to think of something greater than ourselves, and it's sort of a 6 to a 13-minute block of time in our day. Time for us to pause and just kind of take stock. And this morning, as I was taking stock, I was lying there thinking about different people I've known as kids and how they are as adults. Some of you know that I'm in the middle of co-leading with my colleague and friend Sonia Kennedy a second session of a class in this part of the world. Where's the book? Oh, there it is. That I had talked about before, and I've shared parts of the book with you before, White Privilege Pop Quiz. So we're leading another session of those online here over a 9-week period. Not too late to join. If any of you are watching this and you'd like to join us for the conversation and learnings, let me know. I'll send you the Zoom link in live time. It is Eastern time, Tuesday night, 6:30 to 8. So you're welcome to do that. Anyway, there's this person in my life, a woman, who is biracial, white and black. Brilliant young woman. And throughout her life, she's in her 20s now, and throughout her life she has been viewed, I think, as black, and really embraced that identity in college. And now it's not that she's not embracing that. I don't ever want to give that impression, but she is trying to figure out how to embrace her whiteness as well. And it's very hard when you don't move through life as a beige-skinned person where all of those privileges are forthcoming automatically. And I hearken back to the Michigan Women's Music Festival that I attended for 18 years and worked at for all those years. And there was a women of color tent. I think I've talked about it in this venue before, for all women of color who were welcome to enter. And I was not, because I am not a woman of color, which made perfect sense to me. But there were other white women who had trouble with that. I think their sense of privilege made them feel that they should be allowed to go in and see what's going on in there. And that confounded me too. One woman had the audacity to say, well, I know I was African in a past life. Yeah, that doesn't really cut it. The criteria or the definition of who was allowed in there was based on how you move through life. Do you move through this life as a woman of color, or as a white woman, a woman of no color, a beige-skinned woman? And so when I think about this young gal, who was a friend of our family, I still think of her in terms of a woman of color, because I know that's how she has been treated and how she has moved through life. Although clearly she is as much white as she is black. And that really has been in my mind this morning as I thought, well, what do I do then? How do I support people? It's one thing to have your consciousness raised by books like, White Privilege Pop Quiz, or others, many other good books out there. It's one thing to have your consciousness raised and then to become more comfortable or even more proficient, maybe, at dealing with people of color. But what do you do then when you perceive someone as being a person of color, but they don't perceive themselves that way? And I was stuck on that for a little bit this morning as I was getting dressed. Of course, always we defer to how the person defines themselves, right? Every person has a right to define her or him or themselves. Whether we're talking about gender issues or sexuality issues or even racial issues. And so I defer to the fact that she is not seeing herself as moving through life as a Black woman. And I think that's my answer. I just support her for who she sees herself to be. And then that led me into thinking about God and how we see ourselves differently than God sees us. And does that mean that God needs to support us in the ways that we see ourselves? And if I see myself as a bully, should I expect other people to embrace that about me? If I see another person who is bullying others, but the bully doesn't see themselves as a bully, what does that say about how I interact with them? Kind of brings me back to what a person does and who a person is, I guess. And I just offer this up to you because you'll reach your own decisions, and it's kind of something to expand our awareness for the day. But if someone sees themselves as a great artist, and you don't think they have much artistic talent at all, how do you deal with them? Well, hopefully kindly. But critics and people who are professionals in the art world, they're going to not suddenly see them as a person of talent just because the person sees themselves as having talent, right? So there has to be a difference between action and being. Is that person a good artist? No. Do they see themselves as an artist? Yes. Can I respect the way they see themselves as an artist? Yes. Do I have to respect their art? No. So how do I take that and put that onto someone's self-image, whether it's around race or gender or sex or anything else? I think I can respect the person and that how that person sees themselves is to be respected, but that the actual thing that the person sees themselves as may not be. I could study horse racing forever and begin to think of myself in my deluded state as some jockey, but I will never be a jockey. Aside from the fact I'm a woman, I think there probably are women jockeys now. I don't know for sure, but I certainly don't have the build. I don't have the experience. I weigh as much as the horse practically. It's I would never be a jockey, but I might live in the world of seeing myself as a jockey, and I would hope that the people around me would honor that and respect it and not make fun of it. So how do we do that with people who think differently than we do about politics? How can we respect the person even without respecting what they do? Or with someone who's a person of color, who we may think is a person of color. You pass someone on the street, you're interacting with them in a store. Common mistake. People think someone is Hispanic. Turns out that they're Italian. There are a lot of actors in Hollywood who've made money off that. You know, I think that we just have to broaden our whole understanding of respecting someone else, accepting them and respecting them. And I believe in my heart of hearts that this is what the kingdom of God is all about. That nobody gets to tell anybody else who they are, or what they are, or how they should move through life. But we do get to and are expected to support them in their experience and in their self definition. Even if we can disagree with them, even if I can look at my friend who thinks she's a great artist and say, I'm just not seeing it. But if it's your expression, then go for it. I can be encouraging without lying and saying, it's not working for me. But I think it takes thought, and there's an awful lot of thoughtless conversation and thoughtless comments that are made and judgments that are made, and things are not always as they seem. I invite you today to be thinking about this and look around at the people you are interacting with. See how they define themselves, describe themselves. Is it the same as you would define or describe them? Maybe you don't even think about it. You're just so superficial in your interactions. You have the right to be, but if you want a little challenge, this can really be a game changer. And I think it brings us closer to the kingdom of God, where everyone is precious and treasured and accepted for who they are. And who they are includes who they think they are. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. I hope you have a good day noticing how you interact with people and how they define themselves. Thanks for joining me for this prayerful pause with the pastor. I'm Pastor Deb Swift of South and Irondequoit Presbyterian Churches in Rochester, New York. And until next time, take care. God bless. And bye for now.